After being pecked by a radioactive bird, somewhat man or T. Tuthill was possessed to become Kinneas, the Skydude. Stand by.
Wherever you look, you see what you're looking for. Wherever you look, you see what you're looking for. Wherever you look, you see what you're looking for. Wherever you look, you see what you're looking for.
What do you see when you're looking with your eyes closed? Nothing new. What do you feel like when you're doing what you should do? Like golden bamboo.
We are like this salamander that has the option of never developing into its matured form.
What do you know about the voices always in your head? Silver What do you feel like when you learn how to use this tool? Like golden bamboo.
We are like this salamander that has the option of never developing into its matured form. We can make things better for ourselves. We can make things better for ourselves. We can make things better for ourselves.
Wherever you look.
You see what you're looking for.
I would say most of the time. Hey, if you like that track and you want that track, in the description, I've saved the link to that. That is from Arthur Ioria. That was Golden Bamboo. Hey, welcome to episode number 145. All right, so in Neofly, I tried one of these intercept mission earlier. Anyway, I've been trying to make my way over here from Greece yesterday. So we did a good portion of Greece, and we checked out a lot of historic sites. The Battle of Thermopylae was the top of the list, and went to Sparta. And one of the interesting things we found is, in the Western world, we don't like changing names that much. So a place in the past that it was called Sparta is mostly still called Sparta. Whereas other parts of the world, I guess we do it too, and we should probably make a commitment not to do it, because it's so hard to keep historical stories straight. Anyway, Carthage is still Carthage, and I wanted to start here today. So I play this one game called Rome Total War. It's just, well, it's in a league of its own. It's an amazing title. The Total Rome stuff are all great. All the Total War games are pretty interesting, but I really like the Roman stuff. Okay, so in that game, you have to, start back in the whatever, like 290 BC, and try to do whatever you want to do, like take over the whole world. Anyway, usually right off the bat, you're dealing with Carthage and Sicily. I thought this was part of the Corinthian League. I thought this earlier, I had mistaken this for Corinth. That's in Greece. Anyway, I wanted to get us to Rome. So we're going to go fly over Carthage, and today I would like to try to use VOR navigation. Anyway, so I've written down a lot of the VORs along the routes. Then, so crossing over here, usually this is, you can be friends with these guys right off the bat, or just take it. Right? They kind of sometimes, it's hard for them to hang on. If you become a good friend, you can help them hang on, and they'll be a good ally later. Other than that, you have to decide early on, do you want to take this or not? Okay, then up through southern Italy. There's usually a big town over here. There's a lot of small little towns that were around at that time. And we'll make our way to Rome. Vatican City, will go to the Colosseum. So I also have Bushtalk loaded, so any audio tours that we clip over should trigger. Let me turn on my automatic scene switcher, and I forgot to turn on the bed music. Also from Arthur Ioria, this bit of bed music is called Hio Hio. That doesn't quite look centered right. Yeah, that's a lot better. All my screens seem to have changed dimensions. So I apologize if in yesterday's show I didn't catch that and everything was all jacked up on your end. Oh man, I apologize. It's always something, right? In the immortal words of Rosanna Dana. Anyway, I tried one of these interception points. I wanted to see if we could fly some of these routes in style and make money. So sure enough, you can pick the whatever aircraft you want, whatever jet you want, and still find jobs to do in Neofly. So I did one earlier, and all you got to do is find the location of the bandit and fly close enough that you can get a tail number. So don't make a lot of money, but you still can do it. All right, I am going to be using the F35 today. And like I said, I want to see if I can do some VOR navigating in this thing. Thank you to the latest subscriber, Alec Gibelin. And I'm sorry I missed him in the chat yesterday. He requested that I go to Rhodes. So when I did finally catch it, I did teleport over there. Check out the area where the Colossus used to be. Just taking its sweet time. All right. So, clicking this, all of these at the top are basically menu icons. There's no real information up here. These are just menus, right? So, by clicking this, I go back to the main screen, which displays engines. Got a low-flying helicopter overhead. I can feel it in me bones. How cool. A lot of flying going on this morning overhead. Okay, and clicking it again, I will bring up my navigation screen. So you can do VOR ILS. These are TACAN band. Your ILS. So the first VOR that I wrote down is BIZ at 114.200. So let's click on that. 114.200. All right, so we've got that in there. Now, this is our flight controls, but once we get up in the air, I'm going to switch over to autopilot. And I'm going to see if we can make this thing do a VOR hold and have it kind of autopilot us there. So, okay. This is, if you haven't seen this before, let me show you the outside. I think you'll like it. I think she's very, very pretty. And just such a joy to fly. All right. This is where the fun happens. Right around here. Okay, let's pop back in for a minute. Hook STOVL button. Okay. You see that these green arrows have rotated down to 20 degrees. You see what has happened there. This button here, I mean these are actually buttons. Anything in blue on these menus, it's all touch screen. So So if I click here on hover, those arrows rotate to 90 degrees. That's now at 90 degrees. Now if I push my joystick forward or backwards, let's try backward pulling. Nothing yet. Oh, can't do it in this mode. In the drone mode, I would have to be in this mode. All right, so pushing the pulling the joystick backwards. Let me go. Pushing the joystick forward. Pulling the joystick back. Up. We must be out of hover once we touch down. Let me go back inside. Yep, we're out of hover. We're at 20 degrees. All right, back to hover. All right, now if you have a Sidewinder joystick, doing your yaw left, right. All right, let me bring our gear up. All right, using your aileron trim controls, usually the default. I'm going to add I'm going to press it a couple of times, my right aileron trim. All right, now my left aileron trim, slowing us back down. And if I continue to put input left aileron, all right, let me zero it back out. So you can I think you can go back 20 knots. You can fly in reverse at 20 knots and forward at, so we're at negative 20 now. Yeah, this is as fast as you can go backwards. And still have all that control, you know, whether you want to be twisting, flying sideways, going up, going down. All right, let's get some height here. Because what I want to do is I want to make a transition to forward flight. So I want to have a little bit of air underneath us. All right. I forgot to mention that there's a halfway mode, right? Remember when the arrows were at 20? Okay, we're still at 98 degrees rotation on the engines to remain in this hover mode. But if I click hover mode off, we go into, it should go to 20s or somewhere thereabouts. Now, again, it's like a medium spot between flying full flight and hover mode. So you slow down dramatically, but your maneuverability is superior, and you don't really fall out of the sky. You really have to dive down to the surface. Trust me, it's weird. In a normal plane, at that speed and those angles, you just kind of fall from the sky. Not with these. They just still kind of hover in place. It's an amazing thing. This is the F35B for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think the Lockheed Martin group just put out their own, which is very, very tempting. Because who better to, if it's actually licensed by them, who better, right? But this is the one that's available by India Fox Echo, right? I believe so. Okay. Get some more height. All right, so now I'm adding positive aileron, so I get forward thrust, and again, we can go up to 50 knots. So while we're rising in the air, I'm increasing our forward momentum. There's 25 knots. All right, 52 knots is the max. All right, so we're going forward. So this is ancient Carthage, and normally we're taught in history school a little bit about it, usually a general named Hannibal. And when they fought with the Romans beat them. Or at an earlier point, the Romans came down here to Carthage, and they were so mad at the people of Carthage that they burned everything, killed everybody, and salted their fields. All right. And as I understand, that means it prevents things from growing. They were that mad. And so Hannibal shows up, this general, and he's famous for getting a bunch of elephants from somewhere and taking them up into Rome and engaging the Romans. But I guess he made a big mistake, and he hit the Alps during a winter. I guess that really wasn't the smartest thing to do. Okay, I said I wanted to see if we could get transition to flight and see if we can do a VOR. So let's get back into the cockpit here. All right, so let me bring up my autopilot controls. We have the VOR frequency of biz in. Turn on the autopilot. See, hopefully nothing bad happens. Hopefully I don't know if you can in this mode. Okay, so let me click that button on the side again. Click STOVL mode, and it should transition us to full flight. That's simple. All right, let's see if I can turn on autopilot now. Whoa. We need to do an altitude hold. All right. So I'm trying to do an altitude hold at I think Put in 20,000. Need it 2,000 feet. All right. VOR hold. No. All right. Climb DiMaggio. I'm trying to make it go up and do a flight level change to 5,000 feet. No. Too bad doing a speed hold. We are 500. We only need to be going 250 at the moment. I want to see if I can get her controlled. Okay, good. She's responding to speed controls. There's no radar like in normal military planes, and there probably is in a military version where it's got the radar altitude hold. All right, I'm still not getting anything for VOR. I don't see any information on the VOR we input, and we could be too low. And she doesn't want to do a climb. So let's turn off autopilot for a moment and auto throttle. What's going on? It's like we've lost our throttle. Something horrible happened, like the engine shut off. Yeah, that's bad. Horrible. I have no idea what happened there. I switched off the autopilot. We were coming down from 500 to 250 knots, so we had plenty of speed. Did a climb, but as we were descending and I was pulling up the nose, she just kept falling and falling. We don't have to go through all that. All right, that's actually beneficial because we get to do this now. So that was just the first cool thing that we could do. So this here is Autopilot Master. This one, let's see. I think you still might need this set. Hook STOVL. Yeah. This one here that appeared. If I turn it off, keep your eye right here. So if I turn it off, see those options disappeared? Okay, let me turn it back on. Okay, so hover appears, but this one here, auto takeoff. So it'll try to take off as fast as it can. Right, so all you need to do is make sure the brake is off and click auto takeoff. So let me click the brake off. Maybe that's on. And click auto takeoff. Now brake off. Pretty zippy. All right, take it out of STOVL mode. Stayed in. Off. Wow. You're up. All right. See about putting that frequency in again. If we get anything. 1142. You don't have to enter the decimal. All right. Oops. 1142. 0. All right, 7,000 feet. And turn north of this 500 knots. Don't need to do that yet. Okay. So, good look out here of Carthage again. If you're asking yourself at all, where in the world are we? Pause right there for a second. Bushtalk radio should be popping up. All right, let me zoom out on the world. So there's the Mediterranean. This is Africa. Just follow the coast of Africa till you get to about its, a little less than midway point. Got this big dip in here, right? Big bowl. And when you come up and before it turns, it's got this finger pointing up towards Sicily. All fingers point towards Rome, and it actually is. It's maybe a bit off. It's pointing the right direction. All right, so this area here in ancient times was Carthage. Modern day Tunisia. So we're here just below the finger pointing towards Sicily. There's the big finger. Okay, I was looking wrong. It's behind us. So in most games, in most of the Roman games, you usually end up having to take out guys over here first and setting up a base over here on this little island. And if you're quick about it, you can work your way down here and capture this little port city down here. And if you're not waging war with the Sicilian people, that allows you to stage much better for trying to take Carthage down here. All right. Let's see. We have 3 points of interest in Bushtalk radio on the side. Turn off my bed music here. And these 3 points to our starboard side are the second Punic War, ancient Carthage. All right.
Carthage was an ancient Phoenician city-state and civilization located in present-day Tunisia. Its vast mercantile network provided an array of commodities from all over the ancient world, as well as lucrative exports of agricultural goods and manufactured products. This commercial empire was secured by one of the largest navies in the ancient Mediterranean and an army composed largely of foreign mercenaries. As the dominant power of the Western Mediterranean, Carthage came into conflict with the Romans in the First Punic War. At the end of the war in 241 BC, the Carthaginian navy had been crippled and Rome was the dominant regional power. Hamilcar Barca, leader of the Carthaginian army, spent the next 20 years rebuilding Carthage's wealth by conquering the Iberian Peninsula. After his death in 228 BC, command of the Carthaginian army was given to his son Hasdrubal, who began consolidating Carthage's interests in Iberia and signed a treaty with Rome establishing the Ebro River as the boundary between the two in the region. In 221 BC, Hasdrubal was assassinated and his brother Hannibal was made commander of the army. On assuming command, Hannibal spent 2 years completing 2 campaigns to fortify the Carthaginian hold on the Iberian region. During his return journey home, a coalition of Spanish tribes attacked and Hannibal won his first major battle and demonstrated his tactical skills. However, Rome, fearing the growing strength of Hannibal, made an alliance with the city of Saguntum, which lay a considerable distance south of the Ebro River, and claimed the city as its protectorate. Hannibal not only perceived this as a breach of the treaty signed with Hasdrubal, but as he was already planning an attack on Rome, used this to justify it. The Carthaginian government, having been humiliated at the end of the First Punic War and enjoying the riches from the conquests in Iberia, supported Hannibal's campaign against Rome.
All right. Pause. There was the second one here.
Founded by the Phoenicians, Carthage is an extensive archaeological site, located on a hill dominating the Gulf of Tunis and the surrounding plain. Metropolis of Punic civilization in Africa and capital of the province of Africa in Roman times, Carthage has played a central role in antiquity as a great commercial empire. During the lengthy Punic Wars, Carthage occupied the territories that belonged to Rome, which then destroyed its rival in 146 AD. The town was rebuilt by the Romans on the ruins of the ancient city. Exceptional place of mixing, diffusion and blossoming of several cultures that succeeded one another, this metropolis and its ports have encouraged wide-scale exchanges in the Mediterranean. Founded at the end of the 9th century BC by Alyssa Dido and having sheltered the mythical love of Dido and Aeneas, Carthage produced a warrior and strategy genius in the person of Hannibal, the navigator-explorer Hannon, and a famous agronomist, Magon. Carthage has always nourished universal imagination through its historic and literary renown. The archaeological site comprises the vestiges of Punic, Roman, Vandal, Paleochristian and Arab presence. The major known components of the site of Carthage are the Acropolis of Byrsa, the Punic ports, the Punic Tophet, the necropolises, theatre, amphitheatre, circus, residential area, basilicas, the Antonine Baths, Malaga cisterns and the archaeological reserve.
So you may have noticed it too today, because I've been bringing it up a lot, that this has been what we would consider today a superpower since the from the beginning. And yet, unlike New York City or other places, it's not completely filled in. As a matter of fact, it's very, very sparse. And that blows my mind. That basically, you know, just down there on these hills, you can look down, you can see evidence in the ground of all the early ancient construction, all the ancient sites. So not too hard to get at. And again, just open. There was a third entry down here on the destruction of the city. Whoops.
The siege of Carthage was the main engagement of the Third Punic War and was fought between Carthage and Rome. It consisted of the nearly 3-year siege of the Carthaginian capital, Carthage. In 149 BC, a large Roman army landed at Utica in North Africa. The Carthaginians hoped to appease the Romans, but despite the Carthaginians surrendering all of their weapons, the Romans pressed on to besiege the city of Carthage. The Roman campaign suffered repeated setbacks through 149 BC, only alleviated by Scipio Aemilianus, a middle-ranking officer, distinguishing himself several times. A new Roman commander took over in 148 BC, and fared equally badly. At the annual election of Roman magistrates in early 147 BC, public support for Scipio was so great that the usual age restrictions were lifted to allow him to be appointed consul and commander in Africa. Scipio's term commenced with 2 Carthaginian successes, but he tightened the siege and commenced a construction of a large mole to prevent supplies from getting into Carthage via blockade runners. The Carthaginians had partially rebuilt their fleet and it sortied, to the Roman surprise. After an indecisive engagement, the Carthaginians mismanaged their withdrawal and lost many ships. The Romans then built a large brick structure in the harbour area which dominated the city wall. In the spring of 146 BC, the Romans launched their final assault and over 7 days systematically destroyed the city and killed its inhabitants. Only on the last day did they take prisoners, 50,000, who were sold into slavery. The formerly Carthaginian territories became the Roman province of Africa with Utica as its capital. It was a century before the site of Carthage was rebuilt as a Roman city.
Yeah. And we have not been given high quality detailed satellite maps of the area. You know, so some of these maps are 10 years old, so who knows actually how. But even in 10 years, I can't imagine that all of a sudden it looks like New York City now. Hey, some good news. All right, we do now have a readout for the VOR biz 114.200, and I hit autopilot and tried VOR hold, and it's doing it. It is flying to intercept. So as soon as it gets that closer to this line, that's the vector. So the VOR is over in this direction, but it's this direction as well. It's to the west and then towards the north. So the plane is trying to get to this first. See about an altitude hold. 7,000 feet. All right, so this is pretty built up down here. Very. This is more of what I expected as we were coming from the south. I was expecting a lot more of this. All the oil. That's north. If they have done a...
Bizerte or Bizerte, the classical hippo, is a town of Bizerte Governorate in Tunisia. It is the northernmost city in Africa, located 65 kilometers north of the capital Tunis. It is one of the oldest known settlements in Tunisia, having been founded by settlers from the Phoenician port of Sidon around 1100 BC. It is also known as the last town to remain under French control after the rest of the country won its independence from France. The city had 142,966 inhabitants in 2014. Bizerte is on a section of widened inlet and east-facing coast of the north coast of Tunisia, 15 kilometers from Ras Ben Saka, 20 kilometers northeast of the Iqul Lake, 30 kilometers north of the archaeological site of Utica, and 65 kilometers north of Tunis. West of the city there are coastal hills forming an outcrop of the Tell Atlas with well-conserved woods and vantage points. Its associated beaches include Sidi Salem, La Grotte, Rasengela, and Al Rimmel. It is on a section of Mediterranean climate coastline, close to Sardinia and Sicily, as opposed to coasts in the south of the country which have a year-round dry desert climate. The city is centered on the north shore of the Canal of Bizerte, linking the Mediterranean Sea to a tidal lake, the Lac de Bizerte, which is larger than all parts of the town combined, to the immediate south. Built-up areas are in 3 directions. Southwest along the widening canal with jetties at Pesheri and Jaruba, the latter associated with Bizerte Sidi Ahmed Air Base adjoining the opening of the lake and military/rescue heliport. North are Sidi Salam and Corniche. They are within meters of the coast and on coast-facing slopes of the Ain Berda, a range of hills toward Cap Blanc, a small headland in the Ain Damu Plage Natural Conservation Area.
Really?
Zatsauna, Menzel Gemel and Menzel Obdramana are on the south shore of the canal, formed by the locality of Zatsauna and the towns of Menzel Gemel and Menzel Obdramana, by a movable bridge, and both Menzels face the lake itself. The rest of the isthmus on which they stand is the gently rising Forêt de Rimel, reaching a high point east of its forest area at Cap Sebib.
Sorry, I missed it. It actually looks like it hit the VOR and then it turned it off, the VOR hold. But it did. It seemed to have gotten us there. I think. It's trying to do it now. All right, the next waypoint we had was TRP, and that's a TAKEOFF. It's a military receiver. It's a military channel, and the channel is 25X. Work. No. Let's see. Should be here. Oh, you select the X. All right, so you select the X or the Y band there. And then where do you put it in? TAKEOFF frequency 25. Backspace 025. All right, so down here now, TAKEOFF 025 and BRZ. So let's clear out the VOR. Still blew it out. It didn't blow it out. It's still there. But it's showing us TAKEOFF. The arrow is here. So let's see if it'll... I don't know how to make it switch navigations to use TAKEOFF. So that's what's throwing me. That's how you put it, and we've got it. But biz is still showing, and it still seems like the plane. Unless you have to enter the course yourself. But it doesn't give us one. Select, see if I can select this over here. No. Nope. All right, well, we'll skip that. I'll have to go look that up, like how to switch navigation mode. Huh, we don't have it in here now. That's cleared. Maybe with Taken you can only point to it, or it shows up, but you can't view to it because it's military. Maybe that's the reason why. All right, well, the next one on the list was TRA 110950. That should take us to Sicily, possibly. First one was supposed to take us to the tip of it, and the second one might take us to Syracuse. Let's see here. 110950. Might be too far away. We're not getting any information on it. All right, let's try a heading change to 090. And do a heading hold. Now I'll open up the engines, try to recover from all the distance I just had us fly out of the way. We're holding at 7,900 feet. No speed hold. And nothing yet for viewer information showing up. "53 minutes after the hour." Thanks for tuning in. As you can see, trying to navigate our way around in an F35. A lot of fun. This thing travels so fast we can't even see land anymore. It's over there. So, if I've got it right, I could check on this map. Yeah, I said if we were to head straight east, we would run into Sicily. On this map, we're over here out in the ocean, heading straight towards it. And at this altitude, let's go up to 10,000 feet. We don't have any VOR information. Let's go higher. Enough out hold. Go back. 10,000 feet, nothing yet. I'm surprised at the lack of VORs in the in Italy in general. .500 knots and still no sign of it, but we know it is. Ah, there it is. You can slightly make it out. The landmass is in the mist up there. Turn off speed hold and do an afterburner. The power. Are there any, what's coming up? This is coming up next. This will be a little mountain that we're going to pass over first.
Marittimo is one of the Aegean islands in the Mediterranean Sea west of Sicily, Italy. It forms a part of the municipality of Favinana in the province of Trapani. It takes about an hour to reach the island from Trapani. The ancient name of the island was Hera, part of the Greek name Hieronissos, which means sacred island in Greek. Indeed, its Latin name used by Pliny was also Sacra. The name Marittimo probably comes from the words mar and timo due to the profusion of time on the island. However, it may stem from a local pronunciation of the word maritimo. Marittimo is the second largest of the Aegean islands. The highest point is Monte Falcone with a height of 686 meters. The island has about 300 inhabitants in the winter and 700 in the summer, who mainly live from fishing, tourism and traditional handcrafts. Fishing is predominantly conducted in the summer months.
So that is what is happening right out in front of us, what we just heard. That's it. Change the heading. It's like it bugged there. Off the afterburner. Still don't have any VOR information. That's the little island they were talking about there. Why aren't you holding my heading? I wanted 60. Heading hold. There it goes. No. No, but there's our VOR information just finally popped up down there. That is the proper code, TRA 110950. Alright, so let's do a VOR hold. It's like somehow or another I've taken it out of nav mode. 950.
Marsala is an Italian town located in the province of Trapani in the westernmost part of Sicily. Marsala is the most populated town in its province and the fifth in Sicily. The town is famous for the docking of Giuseppe Garibaldi on the 11th of May 1860 and for its Marsala wine. A feature of the area is the Stagnone Lagoon Natural Reserve, a marine area with salt ponds. Marsala is built on the ruins of the ancient Carthaginian city of Lilybaeum, and includes in its territory the archaeological site of the island of Motier, an ancient Phoenician town. On the 11th of May 1943, In the lead up to the World War II Allied invasion of Sicily, an Allied bombardment of the town permanently damaged its Baroque center and claimed many victims. Marsala wiped off the map, titled The New York Times on the 13th of May 1943.
I can't tell. I mean, it's definitely turning and grabbing something now. It says it's homing in on an ILS. Okay. And that was TRA. Let's try COM 113450. Well, let's see what this does first. I don't know if it could see it over those mountains. That's probably the problem. VOR is line of sight. And so if you've got mountains in the way or you're not high enough, you just can't. That could be the problem here. See if it straightens out, or if if it keeps going in a circle, it's lost its direction. It doesn't know what to home in on. I would think that is the problem. It doesn't. Yeah. Seems like it's still turning in a circle. Alright, let's turn off Alt Hold and climb again. $13,000 feet. $15. $17. I don't think I can see it. Directly into this little bay area.
The Collatubo Castle is a fortress located near the town of Alcamo, Sicily, southern Italy. The site has remains of a settlement of the Elymians and a necropolis. Being next to A29 motorway, it has fallen into disrepair and is therefore closed to visitors, although the town council of Alcamo has often expressed the desire to recover it. The origins of the castle date back to some years before 1093, the year in which Roger I of Sicily defined the boundaries of the Diocese of Mazzara that included Collatubo with all its dependencies. In ancient times, around the castle there was the village of Collatubo, which based its business on the extraction of stones for water and windmills from the quarries around the creek Finocchio, as mentioned by the Arab geographer Muhammad al-Idrisi in the Book of Roger, written in 1154. HMS Thetis N25 was a Group 1T class submarine of the Royal Navy which sank during sea trials in Liverpool Bay, England on 1 June 1939. After being salvaged and repaired, the boat was recommissioned as HMS Thunderbolt in 1940. It served during the Second World War until being lost with all hands in the Mediterranean on 14 March 1943. The Thetis accident happened after the inner hatch on a torpedo tube was opened while the outer hatch to the sea was also open. 4 men successfully used the sub's one-man escape chamber before a fifth panicked and jammed it. A total of 99 men died as a result. The sinking led to the redesign of all torpedo tubes on British and Australian submarines. A latch, known as the Thetis clip, was added to the inner torpedo tube door so it could be fractionally opened to check the tube was not open to the sea before being fully opened. Stadio Renzo Barbera is a football stadium in Palermo, Italy. It is currently the home stadium of SSD Palermo football team. The stadium was inaugurated during the fascist. Palermo Cathedral is the cathedral church of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Palermo, located in Palermo, Sicily, southern Italy. It is dedicated to the Assumption of the Virgin Mary. As an architectural complex, it is characterized by the presence of different styles, due to a long history of additions, alterations and restorations, the last of which occurred in the 18th century. The church was erected in 1185 by Walter Ophamel, the Norman Archbishop of Palermo and King William II's minister, on the area of an earlier Byzantine basilica. By all accounts, this earlier church was founded by Pope Gregory I and was later turned into a mosque by the Saracens after their conquest of the city in the 9th century. Ophamel is buried in a sarcophagus in the church's crypt. The medieval edifice had a basilica plan with 3 apses, of which only some minor architectural elements survive today.
That's very pretty. Very pretty mountain range. With a nice, lovely lake. The next item, just turning a little bit.
The Castello di Caccamo is a castle in Caccamo, Sicily. It is among the largest and best preserved Norman castles in Sicily, and one of the largest in Italy. The castle is built on a steep cliff, 521 meters above sea level. It overlooks the surrounding countryside, including the San Leonardo River Valley and the Rosmarina artificial lake. The castle as it is today was built by Matthew Bonelus in the 12th century. It was later modified by the Chiaramontes in the 14th century, and by other rulers until the 17th century. The castle is a large structure built of white stone, having an irregular plan. It has walls with V-shaped battlements, towers, a moat and a courtyard. The interior consists of a maze of rooms and stairways. The most notable room within the castle is the Sala della Congiura, also known as the Conspiracy Hall. In 1160, some Norman barons met in this room to plot against William I of Sicily, but the rebellion failed. Parts of the castle collapsed in an earthquake in 1923. The castle was inhabited by descendants of the Dukes of Caccamo until it was purchased by the region of Sicily in October 1963. By this time, the castle was in ruins. Restoration work funded by the region of Sicily began in 1974.
Okay, it says it's gonna get right on it is kind of a tough thing. This thing moves too fast. By the way, it's right around here. The next item. Oh, by the way, I did find out how to add an entry into Bushtalk. It was right in front of my face, as it usually goes. Something in the middle.
Operation Excess was a series of British supply convoys to Malta, Alexandria and Greece in January 1941. The operation encountered the first presence of Luftwaffe anti-shipping aircraft in the Mediterranean Sea. All the convoyed freighters reached their destinations. The destroyer Gallant was disabled by Italian mines, and Axis bombers severely damaged the cruiser Southampton and the aircraft carrier Illustrious. British successes in early November 1940 including halting the Italian offensive in Greece and disabling Italian battleships Littorio, Conte di Cavour and Caio Duilio at the Battle of Taranto provided incentive and opportunity to supply Malta and Greece.
Everything looks so small on the map, and then you get here and it's like, wow, yeah, this is a pretty darn huge place. Again, I guess I'm just going to keep saying this forever and sound like a broken record. Here we are flying over a piece of land that has been part of whoever's owned it. Part of ancient superpowers from the beginning of time. And it still looks like it's never been touched. All this interior. You know, I guess I'm going to say anything controversial today. This might be it. Is, you know, I don't have a problem with immigration, anybody immigrating anywhere, really, as long as they do it legally. And I don't think it's fair that, you know, they want to immigrate to places that are so built up already and expect everything. I think it should be kind of like the old land grab days. Not land grab, but the interior departments of the government would open up a bunch of land that is not being used, and they would say, yeah, sure, come here, but we need you to go to these places and build these cities, you know. We need you to go homestead out here. We need to start getting people out here and have some services and some Walmarts and some 7-Elevens and other services out here, because there's nothing here. And, you know, that's the kind of mismanagement we're dealing with governments today. That we could even be having these problems. It's so unplanned. Everything's so uncoordinated. It's all so ridiculous. They all look like idiots. What's happening to our speed? It's like we have it's like we've lost fuel again. Oh, our engine went off. Yeah, we ran out of fuel and our engine shut off. I did an auto refuel. I think the engines are just starting up now. I've got everything set so quiet. Yeah, they're starting again. Good thing we had enough altitude. That's what happened before, I bet. Now they seem off again. Oh no. It didn't ignite. Always an adventure. Sounds like they're booting up again. All right, let's see if we can take it out of STOVL mode. All right, we're getting positive throttle again. And still, wherever that ILS or that VOR is, if we can get it now. I don't think we have it. No information showing up. All right, coming up next, as we cross Sicily.
Operation Fustian was an airborne forces operation undertaken during the Allied invasion of Sicily in July 1943 in the Second World War. The operation was carried out by Brigadier Gerald Lathbury's 1st Parachute Brigade, part of the British 1st Airborne Division. Their objective was the Primosoli Bridge across the Seine-2 River. The intention was for the brigade, with glider-borne forces in support, to land on both sides of the river. They would then capture the bridge and secure the surrounding area until relieved by the advance of British 13 Corps, which had landed on the southeastern coast 3 days previously. Because the bridge was the only crossing on the river and would give the British 8th Army access to the Catania plain, its capture was expected to speed the advance and lead to the defeat of the Axis forces in Sicily. Many of the aircraft carrying the paratroopers from North Africa were shot down or were damaged and turned back by friendly fire and enemy action. Evasive action taken by the pilots scattered the brigade over a large area, and only the equivalent of 2 companies of troops were landed in the correct locations. Despite this and the defense by German and Italian forces, the British paratroops captured the bridge, repulsed attacks and held out against increasing odds until nightfall. The relief force led by the 50th Infantry Division, under Major General Sidney C. Kirkman, which was short of transport, was still 1 mile away when they halted for the night. By this time, with casualties mounting and supplies running short, the Parachute Brigade commander, Gerald Lathbury, had relinquished control of the bridge to the Germans. The following day the British units joined forces, and the 9th Battalion, Durham Light Infantry, with tank support, attempted to recapture the bridge. The bridge was not finally secured until 3 days after the start of the operation, when another battalion of the Durham Light Infantry, led by the paratroopers, established a bridgehead on the north bank of the river. The capture of Primosoli Bridge did not lead to the expected rapid advance, as by this time the Germans had gathered their forces and established a defensive line. It was not until early the following month that the 8th Army captured Catania. By this time the 1st Parachute Brigade had been withdrawn to Malta and took no further part in the conquest of Sicily. Lessons were learned from the operation and were put into practice in Allied airborne operations.
Trying to get back to the cockpit. Come on, you. See if I can get... It's not finding that VOR at all. All right, let's try RCA. One, 3. All right, we've got something. There we go. We finally got another VOR. We're high enough that it sees it. All right, so in Rome Total War, this is the point you usually decide. Are you going to be friends with these people and come from Italy across here into Sicily and go take out Carthage? Or are you going to come down here and start laying waste to them and take over this island for yourself? It's a big decision early on in Rome Total War. I have recently been playing again, and I don't normally like to live stream those because it can be long, they can be really long and they can be really boring, kind of like this stuff. But in the most recent playthrough that I'm doing, I tried being friends with everybody. I'm pretty far along in the game at this point. But early on, trying to be everybody's friend. You know, I don't want to wage war if you don't want to wage war. And if you do, if you want a friend, and never breaking alliances, like if your friend gets in trouble, okay, you have to go fight with them. But I try not to make enough alliances that I keep my friends list to, you know, the most immediate people. So the people here, the Sicilians, I try to be friends with right away to help me deal with Carthage. And then, of course, the Greeks over there near Athens, Sparta, and if I can, Macedonian troops. I try to be the best friends I can with them and other neighbors around. But the only ones I'll really go to war with are the Greeks. And so again, I always try to be the best friends, give gifts, send diplomats, maintain strong ties. With them, so that as you start making your way down into Persia too, and have to go the route that Alexander the Great did, you've got friends in the region. And so I've done pretty well. I mean, if with the with conquest for the first time in Rome Total War, and I'm doing quite well in taking large portions of the world. And keeping taxes really low. And just trying to play as a good guy instead of just war, destroy everybody, wage war on everybody and everything. I'm surprised we haven't turned yet. The VR hold is still on. It sees it. It's tracked it. We've got it in purple on here. But it sees it as much more southeast, the vector for it. And it hasn't turned yet up into Italy. Usually I want to say it's Brundisium over here. This is a huge important part of your territory in Rome Total War. Usually where all your, early fleets can be made. And to this day, it still looks like, where is everybody? Where are all the skyscrapers? Where are all the modern cities? All right, well, I don't know if it's finding it or not. I'll give it another minute or two, and then I'll just do a heading change and see if I can get the heading hold to work again. All right, well, the needle's moving. Must have heard me. I'm only going to give you 30 more seconds, son. Let's see if she does a sharp coin. Really not the way I wanted to go, but okay. We were supposed to go up the other coast. Yeah, it's doing it. We get a distance to 85. Can't be right. 86. All right, well, let's try the next one. RCA 1110. And she's turning, and she's turning. Yep. That's better. The other drone camera, silly. Oh, did I? You know, I'm also thinking. I think I forgot. Thought I got good quality maps for this. No, that's still not working right. Okay, so let's go to 270. I mean, this is so where you usually build your first fleets, right down in here. And why there aren't giant shipyards still along here, blows my mind. I haven't tried to see if you can get a job while in the air. Oh, it still sees that we're... No, it is giving me a job option. Yeah, so we're in Italy, and these are all the ancient lands of Rome. And there are not mega cities and metropolis all over this place. It's going to get much more dense here in a moment, but not tall. I believe we haven't triggered any audio. We might be able to see this aqua park. Oh, maybe not. Start playing.
The Gulf of St. Euphemia is a gulf on the west coast of Calabria, southern Italy. It is part of the Tyrrhenian Sea and borders the province of Cosenza, the province of Catanzaro, and the province of Vibo Valentia. The gulf extends from Campora San Giovanni in the north to Capo Vaticano in the south. The rivers Savuto, Amato, and Angatola flow into the gulf. Some of the important towns and cities near the gulf include Lamezia Terme, Vibo Valencia, and Tropea. The land bordering the gulf is mountainous in the north and south with a plain in the middle. A relatively narrow isthmus lies between the Gulf of St. Euphemia and the Gulf of Squillace. The Battle of Maida, fought on 4 July 1806, was a battle between the British Expeditionary Force and a French force outside the town of Maida in Calabria, Italy during the Napoleonic Wars. John Stuart led 5,236 Anglo-Sicilian troops to victory over about 5,400 Franco-Italian Polish troops under the command of French General Jean Reynier, inflicting significant losses while incurring relatively few casualties. Maida is located in the toe of Italy, about 30 kilometers west of Catanzaro. In early 1806, the French invaded and overran the Kingdom of Naples, forcing King Ferdinand I of the Two Sicilies and his government to flee to Sicily. The Calabrians revolted against their new conquerors, and Stuart's expeditionary force tried to exploit the unrest by raiding the coast. While ashore, the British encountered Raynier's division and the two sides engaged in battle. The 19th-century historians presented the action as a typical fight between French columns and British lines. This view of the battle has been called into doubt by at least one modern historian who argued that the French deployed into lines. Nobody questions the result, which was a one-sided British victory. After the battle, Stuart captured some isolated garrisons in Calabria and was transported back to Sicily by the Royal Navy. 2 weeks after the battle, the city of Gaeta fell to the French after a long siege. While Stuart succeeded in preventing a French invasion of Sicily and sustained the revolt in Calabria, he missed an opportunity to assist the defenders of Gaeta.
Very interesting. Okay.
Campora San Giovanni is a frazione of the comune of Amantea, in the province of Cosenza, Calabria, Italy, located close to the border with the province of Catanzaro. As with all parts of Calabria, folklore is present in the tradition of the region, from the folk dances in major celebrations to the smallest parties and the cantauturi, in which bards would tell stories of rural life. It is today a widespread tradition that the cantauturi is chosen by the local elder from among the sharpest and most vivacious children.
What? That is all the area underneath us. Right here.
Campora San Giovanni is a frazione of the comune of Amantea, in the province of Cosenza, Calabria, Italy, located close to the border with the province of Catanzaro. As with all parts of Calabria, folklore is present in the tradition of the region, from the folk dances in major celebrations to the smallest parties and the cantauturi, in which bards would tell stories of rural life. It is today a widespread tradition that the cantauturi is chosen by the local elder from among the sharpest and most vivacious children.
This is something you don't get from playing Rome Total War. You don't realize how close the mountains are to everything you're doing as you're moving down throughout here. Or maybe you do have to go around the middle and go around, but wow, I did not realize that that's it. That's the stretch of land, flat land that you have. Ends up making a lot more sense, you know, how you have how you can only get across to the other side at certain places. Oh, we missed something. Passing something on our port side here.
HMS Tribune was a British T-class submarine built by Scots, Greenock. She was laid down on the 3rd of March 1937 and was commissioned on the 17th of October 1939. HMS Tribune was part of the first group of T-class submarines. Tribune started the war with operations in the North Sea and off the Scandinavian coast. She had a number of patrols, attacking an unidentified German submarine and merchant, the U-56, the German tanker Karabisches Meer and the German merchant Birkenfels, all without success. In the Mediterranean, she damaged the French merchant Dalny, which was beached to prevent her from sinking, and then damaged the now beached Dalny the next day. She also torpedoed and damaged the German tanker President Herrenschmidt, and attacked the Italian merchant Benevento, but failed to hit her. HMS Tribune survived the war, was sold for scrap in July 1947, and was broken up in November 1947 by Thomas W. Ward, of Milford Haven. The making of the film Close Quarters. HMS Tribune and crew starred in the British wartime propaganda film Close Quarters, made in 1943, depicting a North Sea patrol off Norway. She was called HMS Tyrant in the film. She also had a part in the movie, Appointment with Venus, Tribune taking a British group out to the Channel Islands, their mission being to rescue a pedigree cow, which is having a calf, from the Germans who occupied the island.
That is absolutely stunning. I mean, you know, we've seen a lot of amazing things, but I don't think we've ever seen anything like that yet. That is very cool.
Paola is a town and comune in the province of Cosenza in the Calabria region of southern Italy. Paola is on the eastern shore of the Tyrrhenian Sea. Nearby towns include Fuscoldo to the north, San Lucido to the south, and Montalto a Fugo to the east and San Benedetto Alano to the northeast. In July 1555, the Bailey of the Mediterranean, Turgot race, captured the city. In August 1943, the middle of World War II, while almost all the citizens of the city were hiding from the air raids by Allied bombers inside the monastery of St. Francis of Paola, an 80 kilograms iron core bomb fell right in the middle of the agglomeration, but did not detonate, a fact widely reported as a miracle. The reason behind the bombing was the presence of Carlo Scorza, secretary of the National Fascist Party, second only to Mussolini.
Don't want to miss anything. Okay, so coming up ahead, we have be flying to this right next.
Diamonte is a coastal town and comune in the province of Cosenza, part of the Calabria region of southern Italy. The Diamonte citron takes its name from the town, and Calabria is still the home of this variety of citron. Each year in early September, Diamonte hosts a festival celebrating the local produce, peperoncino. Among the other products one can find the Calabrese bomba, made from as dried strings of chili peppers which have been infused into olive oil and mixed with other vegetables and mushrooms. The festival is a major event for the small town as it attracts a large number of tourists from all over the world. It lasts for a full week, and each day there are several events including famous plays, performances, folk dances, speeches by important figures, chili eating challenges and cartoon drawing challenge. Every year they organize special events, such as the exposition of samples of chili peppers from all around the world or research papers about chili peppers published by the local Università del Gusto. Furthermore, there are a lot of stalls set up along the seafront which sell creamed chili sauces, flavored chocolates, chili-flavored cheese, pottery, Sicilian arancini and cannoli, Neapolitan cracker, mixtures of vegetable sauces and creams. Moreover, most of the roads into the town are very narrow and inaccessible with a car. Countless little shops of handmade food and handcrafted goods can be found in these roads. A peculiar characteristic of Diamonte are its mural. Many of these can be found on the outside walls of houses, and several of them are centuries old, dating back to the Renaissance. Because of its position, Diamonte was ravaged by Saracens several times during history. Some of these invasions are documented by the wall paintings. The local population is low as it is mainly a touristic place. Due to the expansion of hotels and resorts, the sea has gradually become more and more polluted each year. It is not uncommon to see plastic bags or oil floating over the water. However, recent efforts to clean the area seem to have improved the situation. At the moment, many sea fishes inhabit the area, including jellyfishes. Not too far from the coast there is the small island of Sorella, formerly a fort against pirates. Every year Diamonte experiences severe weather conditions, with seldom sighting of tornadoes either offshore or on the beach. These cause huge damage to the buildings, in particular to the summer houses built right onto the beach. The harbour and seafront have also been destroyed several times. Due to its latitude, temperatures can vary wildly, especially in the summer when there is a large night-day difference. There is a train station situated in Diamonte, which is linked to major cities like Naples and Messina.
There's the train tracks there. I think. I don't see it higher up on the mountain.
Laos was an ancient city of Magna Graecia on the coast of the Tyrrhenian Sea. It was a colony of Sybaris at the mouth of the Lao River, which formed the boundary between Lucania and Brutium in ancient times. The river and the city have the same name in ancient Greek. Today the archaeological site of the city can be found at a short distance to the east of Marcellina, a frazione of the comune of Santa Maria del Cedro in Calabria. Little is known about its foundation or history. Herodotus states that the inhabitants of Sybaris who had survived the destruction of their city in 510 BC took refuge in Laos and Sidrus. Diodorus Siculus seems to imply that that city had been captured by the Lucanians before or during 390 BCE. He writes that the army of Thurii had repelled a force of the Lucanians which had attacked their territory in 390 BCE. The Lucanians then withdrew to their own territory and Thurians pursued them to lay siege to the prosperous town of Laos. On the way to Laos the Thurians were ambushed and crushed by the Lucanians. Pseudo-Salax writes that it was a colony of Thurii. Strabo describes the city as still being in existence in his time. He mentions a Haroun to Draco, a companion of Odysseus, stood there. The first edition of Strabo's Geographica was published in 7 BCE and the last no later than 23 CE. Pliny the Elder, whose natural history was published in approximately 77 to 79 CE, states that the city no longer existed in his time. The site near Marcellina, which is now identified as Laos, was possibly a refoundation of the Greek city by Lucanians on a previously unoccupied site. The city was downsized gradually and abandoned in the second half of the 3rd century BCE. This was probably caused by the Punic Wars, which had a profound impact on the economy of the Tyrrhenian coast. The only material evidence of the archaic Greek city consists of some silver coins with the legend Laphinon and symbols similar to those of the coins of Sybaris, dated between 500 and 440 BCE. The first excavation started between 1929 and 1932. The necropolis of Laos now lies below Marcellina and is notable for its important finds. A rich tomb chamber was discovered by accident in 1961 not far from the railway station of Marcellina. Dozens of red figured vases, bronze and precious metals, and a finely crafted bronze armor were found in the tomb. The burial dated to the second half of the 4th century BCE and is now exhibited in the Museo Nazionale della Magna Graecia in Reggio Calabria. Other burials of the same period, though less rich, were found in the same area in the 1950s and 1960s.
Wouldn't you have liked to have been the one that scored yourself some +3 and above armor in an archaeological find? But the good news is as I think about it, I think I'm getting too old to think about this stuff. But I'm really liking where my brain is going. In flying around a Microsoft Flight Simulator and looking at the world as it may be out there right now within the last 10 years based on these maps. So many places where there have been major engagements and major civilizations, there's nothing there. So, the odds of scoring armor that's +1 and above anywhere that you look for a major battle that there's, and then go look and see if there's anything there. Most of these battles that we were checking out with Alexander the Great, there's still not a whole lot there. But yet there was 600,000 men battling it out. Yeah, there's, you know, unless it's all been completely picked clean. I don't know. Okay, so there's a cave up here on the side of the mountain. I don't know that we're going to be able to see it, but let's go ahead and get the lore on it.
The Romito Cave is a natural limestone cave in the Lau Valley of Pollino National Park, near the town of Papasidero in Calabria, Italy. Stratigraphic record of the first excavation confirmed prolonged Paleo-human occupation during the Upper Paleolithic since 17,000 years ago and the Neolithic since 6,400 years ago. A single, but exquisite piece of Upper Paleolithic parietal rock engraving was documented. Several burial sites of varying age were initially discovered. Irregularly recurring sessions have led to additional finds, which suggests future excavation work. Notable is the amount of accumulated data that has revealed deeper understanding of prehistoric daily life, the remarkable quality of the rock carvings and the burial named Romito II, who exhibits features of pathological skeletal conditions.
Pathological skeletal conditions. Yeah. I've never really been thought of myself as an archaeology fan, but I'm quickly becoming one because, you know, you think to yourself, well, what hasn't been found? Everything. Everything. None of it's been, there's no big buildings and UNESCO sites around some of these places. Even Troy blows my mind. That you can't tell. That ancient Troy was there. No, down, son, down. And that provided the people around, you know, didn't want to cut your head off, then you might find yourself in a good situation to find all kinds of good stuff. Oh, what are we losing power for? Huh. Oh. I wonder if it's going to make me crash. See if I put this in. Oh, no. Well, we should have died a horrible death. It should have exploded. Maybe I still have crash detection off for doing the Microsoft Flight Simulator community fly-in. That must be the case. Well, fortunate for us, you didn't have to experience the trauma of us blowing up. I made a throttle mistake. The crash is entirely my own. I was doing really well up to that point, but I looked over at what was happening and jostling around. I have removed the in that maneuver, the dive maneuver, I pulled the throttle all the way back. And then after recovering from it, didn't re-engage it and just lost all momentum. Okay. What time is it? 3 o'clock? I think it's about time we got to Rome. Let's at least start here so we get the build up coming in. Find out where we update here. Sounds like a lot of light aircraft, general aviation aircraft flying around the area today. I like it. That one's low enough. I can feel it. Okay, it has spawned us up the road a ways. And man, we've got all kinds of stuff around us. A huge stadium. Some famous fields. Super volcanic activity. A museum. A little island. A city. Sokovo. Sokovo. A medieval castle. I don't know the...
Castel Nuovo, often called Maschio Angioino, is a medieval castle located in front of Piazza Municipio and the city.
Museum of Naples. Railway station. Cemetery. A church. All right, so if I do a hard turn to the right in a circle, we can see if we can see any of that. Autopilot's probably on. Not getting any action. Heck is my autopilot? Yep, it was on. All right, well, let's do it now. Go ahead, should be the railway station then. We're out here. Yep, a lot of lines. You're going to be blown away by Rome. I'm blown away. I had to do a quick test run through and look at some locations, and I was mapping out BORs, and when I was doing maps and yada yada yada, and for the cover art, the picture of the Colosseum, I can't believe how big it is. The picture of the cover art today, let me pause right here, go outside. So in the landscape down there, you might find, man, they really love their rail. That's pretty cool. You know, hey, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? So if that's how they want you to move around. Cool. So medieval castle, I think that was the medieval castles, I want to say. This is what I expected everything to look like. For places that have been around since the BCs. This is what I thought every square inch of land in the ancient world at this point in time would look like. Everything going here forward is going to start looking like this. And it's not. Okay.
San Carlo all'Arena is a district of Naples, the regional capital of Campania, located northeast of the historic center of the city. This quarter is named after the church of San Carlo all'Arena, and it constitutes, together with District Stella, Naples' third municipality. The district is centered on the Bourbon Hospice for the Poor located in Piazza Carlo III, a square named after Charles III, the first Bourbon king of Naples. Monuments and places of interest. Church of San Carlo all'Arena. San Carlo all'Arena is a Roman church located in Via Foria, after which the entire district is named. The name of the church itself derives from the street in which it was originally built, Via Arenosa, Sandy Street, formed by the debris left in the wake of the rivers coming from the hills. Botanical Garden of Naples. The Botanical Garden of Naples is a facility owned by the University of Naples Federico II, which houses thousands of plant species. It was founded at the beginning of the 19th century, when the city was under the French domination, with the purposes of public instruction, multiplication of beneficial species, agriculture and industry, as established in the founding decree dated 1807 and signed by King Joseph Bonaparte. Bourbon Hospice for the Poor. The Bourbon Hospice for the Poor is a former public hospital built in the 18th century and designed by the architect Ferdinando Fuga. Its original purpose was to accommodate the poor and sick, however nowadays it is occasionally used to house exhibitions, conferences or concerts. Palace of Diamonte. The Palace of Diamonte was built as royal residence by the Bourbons, and today it houses the National Museum of Diamonte, in which we can find the works of many great Italian artists, such as Raphael, Tiziano, Masaccio, Simone Martini, and Caravaggio. The palace is located in the Real Bosco, a public park born as hunting reserve, that surrounds the palace and that overlooks the city A.
Let's see if I can fine-tune the location of that just a little bit better. All right. It's across the highway. It's directly to our left. River. On this side of the river. That's where they converge in the road. Where the roads converge, and then there's this road that goes out this way. It's not too far. And it looks like it's on the first for the first major curve. So that is approximately in there. Approximately. Somewhere in there is that palace. The artists that they have featured, especially the Caravaggio, you know, that would be a great place to go. I would like to see more and more of his work. So far out. I'm surprised I've had Chips and Ferry data turned on to, you know, show us any boats that it could possibly show us. And unless I'm doing something wrong, I thought that there would be boats everywhere. Ferries, whatever. I've turned it all up as high as it can go. So maybe I'm missing something. You know, maybe it's let's see. Maybe it's an AI traffic thing. Yeah, see, leisure boats, ships and ferries, 100%. See, and this is just for live real world air traffic, and it's on, so I don't know why we're not getting fed. Wouldn't you think that there would be a lot? I do. Okay, Rome, get to it. Mondragon up ahead. War Memorial. There's Rome. Okay. All right, well, prepare yourself. We're heading into Rome. Yeah, such a wonderful experience to see things outside of a game map. I've been referring to Rome 2 Total War and Rome Total War, the video game series. And you know, you're traipsing around a mostly 2D map. You never really, there's no way that you get the full scale of the mountains at all. And it's so nice to fly something that you've spent a lot of time in 2D. A much greater appreciation. Okay, so we still have a ways to go. All right. Beyond that set of hills.
Kinneas was a city of Latium, in the more extended sense of the name, situated on the Tyrrhenian Sea, about 10 kilometers north of the mouth of the Volturno River. It was on the line of the Via Appia, and was the last place where that great high road touched on the sea coast. Baia Domizia is a well-known seaside resort in the region of Campania, Italy, at the border with Latium, a natural border marked by the Garigliano River. The name of the resort comes from its geographical position, since the village was founded midway along the Bay of Gaeta, i.e., along the Domitian coast, which extends from Pozzuoli to Baia, following the modern Via Domiziana. The beach was created by the now extinct volcano of Roccamonfina, and the resident population is under 1,000. Due to its position, Baia Domizia is actually the gateway to South Italy, since it is the first settlement in Campania that one encounters coming from Latium. The settlement was born at the beginning of the 1960s, when Baia Domizia was planned and built as a tourist resort. The first building site was opened on the 7th of April 1963. The planning of Baia Domizia was an initiative of the town council of Sessa Oronca, and it was built by a firm located in Veneto, Oronca Littera Spa, chaired by the Paduan industrialist Giuseppe Longato. It was built with an eye to the natural surroundings, with an urban plan formed by a main road forming a wide curve, from which smaller side streets start. The only access points to the beach go through narrow footpaths. The many villas, built in the Mediterranean style, are surrounded by greenery, mainly pine trees and Mediterranean macchia. The resort is a protected area, part of the regional park Roccamonfina Foce Garigliano.
I don't know if we're going too fast for it. There we go.
Streaming?
Yep.
All right, we'll get with Danny soon and figure out what you guys want.
All right.
Okay, love you, bye.
Love you too. Bye. Christine. Okay. Wanted to put us in this mode as we fly in. Maybe this might be too slow. Check engine. Check gear. Yeah, we don't have to worry about that at the moment. All right. There are a lot of small ground objects. I'm looking at the tour stuff, and some of the stuff, you know, not really going to be able to see. Famous ship was out there.
Stadio Domenico Francioni is a multi-purpose stadium in Latina, Lazio, Italy. It is mainly used mostly for football matches and hosts the home matches of US Latina Calcio of the Serie C. The stadium has a capacity of 9,398 spectators.
Oops. Oh, I hope I haven't turned myself around. Where are we? Nope. Hadrian's Villa. Where the heck is the Colosseum? Circus Maximus. Coliseum. We've been in, but you're we are entering the lands of ancient Rome proper. We're on the, you know, I wouldn't even say we're in the outskirts. The outskirts are still all the way back behind us. We are in for the city itself, on the outskirts of the city proper. Nothing's coming up as to what that might be right there. It looks just like a building now.
The Aurelian walls are a line of city walls built between 271 AD and 275 AD in Rome, Italy, during the reign of the Roman emperors Aurelian and Probus. They superseded the earlier Servian wall built during the 4th century BC. The walls enclosed all the 7 hills of Rome plus the Campus Martius and, on the right bank of the Tiber, the Trastevere district. The river banks within the city limits appear to have been left unfortified, although they were fortified along the Campus Martius. The size of the entire enclosed area is 1,400 hectares. The wall cut through populated areas. In reality, the city at the time embraced 2,400 hectares or 6,000 acres. The Aurelian walls continued as a significant military defense for the city of Rome until the 20th of September 1870, when the Bersaglieri of the Kingdom of Italy breached the wall near the Porta Pia and captured Rome.
It is difficult now with this kind of development to understand what she's talking about. I do see some, some ruined stuff down there. But where these walls were, and she said it enclosed a large area, which was the main defense of Rome. Okay.
The baths of Caracalla in Rome, Italy, were
the baths.
second largest Roman public baths, or term.
Bath.
The baths were likely built between AD 212 and 216-217, during the reigns of Emperor Septimius Severus and Caracalla. They were in operation until the 530s and were referred to as one of the 7 wonders of Rome, before falling into disuse and ruin. Artworks recovered from the ruins include famous sculptures such as the Farnese Bull and the Farnese Hercules. The earthquake of 847 destroyed much of the building, along with many other Roman structures.
The baths. Right? Gotta have them. All right, there's the Colosseum right there. And that is probably Circus Maximus right there. No, the pyramid. Here, the Circus Maximus, yeah, it's beyond Colosseum, so that is it. Pardon me, the computer and the maps, ultimately it still seems to be the maps and then the computer's ability to render things at the ground level better. Oh, anyway, this is why I wanted this particular aircraft. Because I wanted the STOVL mode.
The Circus Maximus is an ancient Roman chariot racing stadium and mass entertainment venue located in Rome, Italy. Situated in the valley between the Aventine and Palatine Hills, it was the first and largest stadium in ancient Rome and its later empire. It measured 621 meters in length and 118 meters in width and could accommodate over 150,000 spectators. In its fully developed form, it became the model for circuses throughout the Roman Empire. The site is now a public park. The circus was Rome's largest venue for ludi, public games connected to Roman religious festivals. Ludi were sponsored by leading Romans or the Roman state for the benefit of the Roman people and gods. Most were held annually or at annual intervals on the Roman calendar. Others might be given to fulfill a religious vow, such as the games in celebration of a triumph. In Roman tradition, the earliest triumphal ludi at the circus were vowed by Tarquin the Proud to Jupiter in the late regal era for his victory over Pomatia.
Sorry, just when I want it to operate perfect, I can't seem to get the thruster to engage and come down. There we go. There's 50 degrees, 60 degrees. Okay. That's what we want. Over here. Now I've lost it, Vern. Had it in my eye. I don't know what this is, but it looks awful cool. Could just be a housing complexes, but the way they built it into circles like that, that's mighty nice. All right. Everything's lagging right now. Yeah, we were off track big time. But we're getting there. Now that is a big train station. There it is. There's the Colosseum. Okay. Why can't I hover now, you? Did it end up going too fast or too slow?
Rome is the capital city of Italy. It is also the capital of the Lazio region, the center of the metropolitan city of Rome, and a special comune named Comune di Roma Capitale. With 2,860,009 residents in 1,285 square kilometers, Rome is the country's most populated comune and the third most populous city in the European Union by population within city limits. The metropolitan city of Rome, with a population of 4,355,725 residents, is the most populous metropolitan city in Italy. Its metropolitan area is the third most populous within Italy. Rome is located in the central western portion of the Italian peninsula, within Lazio. Vatican City is an independent country inside the city boundaries of Rome, the only existing example of a country within a city. Rome is often referred to as the City of Seven Hills due to its geographic location, and also as the Eternal City. Rome is generally considered to be the cradle of Western civilization and Christian culture, and the center of the Catholic Church. Rome's history spans 28 centuries. While Roman mythology dates the founding of Rome at around 753 BC, the site has been inhabited for much longer, making it a major human settlement for almost 3 millennia and one of the oldest continuously occupied cities in Europe. Eventually, Rome became the capital of the Roman Empire, and is regarded by many as the first ever imperial city and metropolis. Beginning with the Renaissance, almost all popes since Nicholas V pursued a coherent architectural and urban program over 400 years, aimed at making the city the artistic and cultural center of the world. Famous artists, painters, sculptors, and architects made Rome the center of their activity,
You son of a gun.
creating masterpieces throughout the city. In 2019, Rome was the 14th most visited city in the world, with 8.6 million tourists, the third most visited in the European Union, and the most popular tourist destination in Italy. Its historic center is listed by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site.
Okay, finally. It took forever to get it into hover mode. She's not very fast, and I was hoping to make that a lot more elegant in my mind, you know, the more experience I have with the plane. But I imagine just flying in nice and smooth and going to STOVL mode and then engaging hover mode right over the Colosseum and being all expert about it. And nah. Okay, so I'm starting to see it out there in front of us. Some interesting construction going on down there. Oh. You doing? Stay put. The Cessna 172, when you fly it in here, feels even definitely smaller, more small. Wow. I'm surprised they haven't built a, a structure to enclose this. Like with, I guess they want everybody to see it, but so massive. I just can't. I was so hoping. I have two thoughts going at me at once. First, let me say I'm sorry if you saw the original artwork for today's show up on the screen. Then it said update 15, and the best of my knowledge is that update 15 was supposed to happen today. And I got up right away, logged in, and I'm like, where is it? So I went to the forums and found out that it might not be till April. How I got that far off, I don't think I was. I think that something's changed. Because, I watched developer interviews. So I'm not watching other people's stuff. I should have got that from a developer's mouth. There was something supposed to happen today. So, but nothing's happening. So I do believe that the original release date was today. So I'll have to see the latest development and see if I missed that somehow. All right, Circus Maximus. All this is amazing. All this, I don't know if this used to just be city or this was all part of complexes. I would need to spend a lot more time here to know, oh yeah, this emperor came in and he knocked down everything Nero did, and then when Nero was in here, he built all this, and then it was taken over by these people, and they knocked it all down and built this. And so there's so much construction that, whole palaces and wings of palaces. All of this, if I'm not mistaken, this is just best guess, is that this entire area, like at one point, used to be just the residence of one person. Residences of an emperor. Probably wrong. But that's the joy of all this. Being able to come in here and learn something. Let's see if there is something directly. We have anything saying this structure. This is probably it then, right out in front of us.
The Arch of Constantine is a
Oh
triumphal
no,
arch
that's
in Rome
behind
dedicated
us.
to the Emperor Constantine the Great. The arch was commissioned by the Roman Senate to commemorate Constantine's victory over Maxentius at the Battle of Milvian Bridge in AD 312. Situated between the Colosseum and the Palatine Hill, the arch spans the Via Triumphalis, the route taken by victorious military leaders when they entered the city in a triumphal procession. Dedicated in 315, it is the largest Roman triumphal arch, with overall dimensions of 21 meters high, 25.9 meters wide and 7.4 meters deep. It has 3 bays, the central one being 11.5 meters high and 6.5 meters wide and the laterals 7.4 by 3.4 meters each. The arch is constructed of brick-faced concrete covered in marble. The 3-bay design with detached columns was first used for the Arch of Septimius Severus in the Roman Forum and repeated in several other arches now lost. Though dedicated to Constantine, much of the sculptural decoration consists of reliefs and statues removed from earlier triumphal monuments dedicated to Trajan, Hadrian, and Marcus Aurelius.
Far out. I am pushing my computer as hard as I can. Still not gonna put on. Oh, why not? We're gonna try to blow up the computer. Let's try. Well, I think I heard my computer just sigh. I can't. Without restarting. Let's see the best we can get here. So, pardon me if there's going to be any extreme lag. Yeah, we're getting it. But I wanted to see how good the image could be. Let's say just taking screenshots. Because now I'm turning the camera and it, as you see, it's just doesn't want to do it. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I can't wait till that update. That update is supposed to give us a taste of the new memory management for Microsoft Flight Simulator for 2024 and how it's going to handle memory and the thin client stuff, as I understand. And so it's supposed to dramatically increase your FPS, all rendering, whatever. We'll see. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see the kind of maps that they might be able to throw at us later for stuff like this. How high resolution can you get? Because you absolutely know that people have already come in here a million times over with 3D scanning, and they have absolutely 3D scan mapped. I mean, that's why this looks so darn good. I mean, as crappy as this looks, a lot of it is probably my video card can't do it. But even then, I mean, you're seeing three-dimensional shape all the way to the under floors of the Colosseum. So these are all the box seats for, I would imagine then the richest were down here in their box seats. And then you had those two areas possibly reserved for them out front. And I wonder if everybody else was told to go upstairs. And I'm blown away at how high it goes on this side. And I think that's I don't know if that's a computer texture that it's generating that structure behind it. Look at how high the walls go. So it's going to be really exciting as we keep going forward in time with the advance of, again, I don't know what a 4090, I haven't looked to see anybody's footage of the Colosseum on a 4090. But even if they're not getting, if they're getting this, you know, kind of the same results, then it's the maps itself. But this is pretty darn good. Why are I get no... Uh-oh. Don't want to do that. Well, that's one way to get through the Colosseum. I couldn't. Now it's back in hover mode. I couldn't get it out of hover mode, or couldn't get it into hover mode and make it engage to lift us off from where we were. I'm supposed to order Domino's.
Maxi is a national museum of contemporary art and architecture in the Flaminio neighborhood of Rome, Italy. The museum is managed by a foundation created by the Italian Ministry of Cultural Heritage. The building was designed by Zaha Hadid and won the Sterling Prize of the Royal Institute of British Architects in 2010. An international design competition for the design of the museum building was won by Zaha Hadid. Her submission included 5 separate structures, of which only one was completed. It was built on the site of a former military barracks, the Caserma Montello, incorporating parts of it.
Now, I thought we were at Vatican City. There we are. Yeah, that's what I thought. We're pretty far off. Not that far, but over there. Another little football field. Wow. If I'm not mistaken, this is the walls around Vatican City. On the backside? No? Far off still? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What happened there? Same kind of thing? Really? What happened? Can we recover? Nope. Ugh. just so darn high up. One moment, please. Okay. Four 12 in the afternoon, you know what that means? No, absolutely nothing. All right. We start someplace. Well. Start on the runway. Okay. What? That didn't start us at the darn airport. Oh, man. She's taking her sweet time, isn't she? Come on. Come on. People are watching and waiting. You don't like those screw-ups. You know what I need to do is I need to run out of the room for a minute and grab a drink. We haven't taken a break this entire time. Time flies. And so I really need to do that. We need to take a break. And I need to go find out what somebody wants on their pizza. Normally handle this stuff. I'm not usually the one doing logistics. And so it's been pushed upon me. But it shouldn't take but a moment. Okay. Oh, good. We've at least spawned at the right place. And let's see if we can... Yeah, something like that. And I'll be right back. The song of the day is Golden Bamboo by Arthur Ioria. if you like this and want to purchase the track, I think it's $1 at Bandcamp, and the link to the song at his site is available in the description. I really recommend just buying the full digital album. I recommend just dropping to get the whole discography and get all the different albums that he's put out there. The first 3 to 4 albums are some of the best work I've ever heard by an independent artist. Hands down. I'm not doing this. I mean, we're friends, but I'm a friend of his because I've been listening to his music for a decade. More than a decade. And he's always blown people's minds. His work has just gotten better and better, but there's so much in his, what do they call it, the portfolio? He's so prolific. But with younger artists, you know, they tend to do some really amazing work. I mean, if they're truly talented, a lot of their younger work is very, very powerful, very amazing stuff. And Arthur's no exception. His work from 10 or more years ago is all right, so let me go find out the pizza stuff. We'll be right back. Let me go to that and press play.
Wherever you look, you see what you're looking for. Wherever you look, you see what you're looking for. Wherever you look, you see what you're looking for. Wherever you look, you see what you're looking for.
What do you see when you're looking with your eyes closed? Nothing new. What do you feel like when you're doing what you should do? Like golden bamboo.
We are like this salamander that has the option of never developing into its mature form.
What do you know about the voices always in your head? What do you feel like when you learn how to use this tool? Like golden bamboo.
We are like this salamander that has the option of never developing into its mature form.
Okay. Where are we now? Oh, where are you? Okay. So from the airport, we were heading directly east towards Vatican City and Rome. Did it again. Turned the wrong way. What the hell was that? Beautiful down here. Crazy to think that a jet can do this, right? Now that's a lot of rooms, you know? It makes no sense to me that this isn't in high def. Or they don't have it? Did they do Italy? I figured I wasn't flying here, so I may not have it. All right.
The Papal Basilica of St. Peter in the Vatican, or simply St. Peter's Basilica, is a church built in the Renaissance style located in Vatican City, the Papal Enclave, which is within the city of Rome. Designed principally by Donato Bramante, Michelangelo, Carlo Maderno, and Gian Lorenzo Bernini, St. Peter's is the most renowned work of Renaissance architecture and the largest church in the world. While it is neither the mother church of the Catholic Church nor the cathedral of the Diocese of Rome, St. Peter's is regarded as one of the holiest Catholic shrines. It has been described as holding a unique position in the Christian world and as the greatest of all churches of Christendom. Catholic tradition holds that the basilica is the burial site of St. Peter, chief among Jesus' apostles and also the first bishop of Rome. St. Peter's tomb is supposedly directly below the high altar of the basilica. For this reason, many popes have been interred at St. Peter's since the early Christian period. A church has stood on this site since the time of the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great. Old St. Peter's Basilica dates from the 4th century AD. Construction of the present basilica began on the 18th of April 1506 and was completed on the 18th of November 1626. St. Peter's is famous as a place of pilgrimage and for its liturgical functions. The Pope presides at a number of liturgies throughout the year, both within the basilica or the adjoining St. Peter's Square. These liturgies draw audiences numbering from 15,000 to over 80,000 people. St. Peter's has many historical associations with the early Christian Church, the papacy, the Protestant Reformation and Catholic Counter-Reformation, and numerous artists, especially Michelangelo. As a work of architecture, it is regarded as the greatest building of its age. St. Peter's is one of the 4 churches in the world that hold the rank of major basilica, all 4 of which are in Rome. Contrary to popular misconception, it is not a cathedral because it is not the seat of a bishop. The cathedra of the Pope as Bishop of Rome is at St. John Lateran.
I did not know that.
Vatican City, officially the Vatican City State, is an independent city-state and enclave located within Rome, Italy. The Vatican City State, also known simply as the Vatican, became independent from Italy with the Lateran Treaty, and it is a distinct territory under full ownership, exclusive dominion, and sovereign authority and jurisdiction of the Holy See, itself a sovereign entity of international law, which maintains the city-state's temporal, diplomatic, and spiritual independence. With an area of 49 hectares and a population of about 825, it is the smallest state in the world by both area and population. As governed by the Holy See, the Vatican City State is an ecclesiastical or sacerdotal monarchical state ruled by the Pope, who is the Bishop of Rome and head of the Catholic Church. The highest state functionaries are all Catholic clergy of various national origins. After the Avignon papacy, the popes have mainly resided at the Apostolic Palace within what is now Vatican City, although at times residing instead in the Quirinal Palace in Rome or elsewhere. The Holy See dates back to early Christianity and is the principal episcopal see of the Catholic Church, which has approximately 1.329 billion baptized Catholic Christians in the world as of 2018 in the Latin Church and 23 Eastern Catholic churches. The independent state of Vatican City, on the other hand, came into existence on the 11th of February 1929 by the Lateran Treaty between the Holy See and Italy, which spoke of it as a new creation, not as a vestige of the much larger Papal States, which had previously encompassed much of central Italy.
I was looking for the Pantheon next, and over here it doesn't seem to be updating properly. Oh. Bushtalk got closed over here. This, the Pantheon, right, has the distinction of being the one of the first, if not one of the first, fully done dome. Whoa, it transitioned out. What did you do? Easy. What the hell? My goodness. We were doing just fine. She was in hover mode, and all of a sudden she dropped out of hover mode, went into jet mode, and we're now in somebody's house. That's just fantastic. What time is it? 4:41. I will have to pick it up here tomorrow. I have the pizza logistics stuff to do. I have to do it now, so somebody will be mad. So I'll pick it up tomorrow, and yeah. And keep heading north, I think. We haven't done... We'll have to go up north and around and then over to Spain, I think. Very close being back to Germany. It's on. No. Good enough. So thank you for tuning in. I'm sorry that I didn't get I shouldn't have wasted so much darn time getting us here. It was still fun. We learned a lot. I learned a lot. Again, saw things I never thought I would see. You know, talking about Rome Total War, everything's in 2D on the maps that I play on, and then getting to see it in 3D really, you know, just really brings that game to life. I'm going to definitely see the Rome Total War games completely different now. I'm going to understand the landscape so much better from here to Carthage. Fantastic. Today's song of the day was Golden Bamboo by Arthur Uria, and I'll go ahead and play that now on the way out. See you tomorrow.
Wherever you look, you see what you're looking for. Wherever you look, you see what you're looking for. Wherever you look, you see what you're looking for. Wherever you look, you see what you're looking for.
What do you see when you're looking with your eyes closed? Nothing new. What do you feel like when you're doing what you should do? Like golden
We are like this salamander that has the option of never developing into its mature form.
What do you know about the voices always in your head? Silver What do you feel like when you learn how to use this tool? Like golden bamboo.
We are like this salamander that has the option of never developing into its mature form.